So I have to be honest, whenever people start talking about the stock market, my brain just shuts off.
That's pretty common. What does it feel like to you?
It feels like a casino. Seriously, it's just flashing numbers, people yelling. You're betting on a number to go up or down. It seems completely random.
Right. The casino idea, I get why it feels that way. Let's try thinking about it differently. Forget the stock market for a second. Do you have a favorite local coffee shop?
Yeah, the one on the corner. I'm there like every day.
Okay, imagine the owner came up to you and said, "Hey, for 50 bucks, you can own a tiny piece of this place."
Own a piece? You mean like I'm a part owner?
Exactly. A tiny, tiny part owner. So if they do really well and sell a ton of coffee, your little piece becomes worth more.
Oh, okay, I see.
That's all a stock is. You're not betting on a number, you're buying a tiny piece of an actual business.
So when I buy a stock in whatever big company, I actually own a little piece of it.
You do. It's not a casino ticket, it's an ownership certificate. It's just a huge marketplace of thousands and thousands of those coffee shops.
Huh. A marketplace of coffee shops. I've never thought about it like that before.
It helps.
Yeah, it actually really does.
So, if you were really going to invest that 50 bucks in the coffee shop, what's the first thing you'd do? You wouldn't just hand over the money blindly, right?
No, of course not. I'd probably think about it. I mean, I'm there every day. I know their coffee is great and they're always busy. The staff is friendly. They have that new patio that's always full.
Exactly. You're already doing the homework. You're looking at the business itself. Is it a good business? Do people like what they sell? Is it growing? You're not looking at a flashing number on a screen. You're looking at the actual coffee shop.
Okay, that makes sense. So with a real company, I'd look at what their products, like do I like their phones or their shoes or whatever it is they sell?
That's a huge part of it. It's called investing in what you know. If you use a product and you see all your friends using it and you think it's a great product, that's a good starting point. You're already a step ahead because you understand the business from a customer's perspective.
But what about the prices going up and down all the time? My coffee shop's value doesn't change every second. It feels like that's where the casino part comes back in.
That's a fair point. Let's go back to the coffee shop. Imagine someone starts a rumor that the city is planning to build a new highway exit right next to it. Suddenly, a lot more people would expect the shop to get more customers. So, more people might want to buy a piece of it and they'd be willing to pay more for it than you did. The price of a piece goes up, even though the shop hasn't actually sold a single extra coffee yet.
Ah, so it's about what people asterisk think asterisk will happen in the future, not just what's happening right now.
Precisely. And it works the other way, too. What if a rumor started that a huge popular chain coffee shop was opening across the street? Even if your local shop is still making great coffee and is just as busy, some people might worry about future competition. They might sell their piece and be willing to sell it for less. So the price of a piece goes down. That's the fluctuation. It's the constant flow of new information and new expectations about the future.
Okay, that's starting to connect for me. The price isn't just about the coffee they sold today, but about all the coffee everyone asterisk thinks asterisk they'll sell tomorrow. So I should just find one really good coffee shop that I'm sure will do well and put all my 50 bucks there, right?
You could do that. And if that coffee shop does incredibly well, you'll do incredibly well. But what if it doesn't? What if the owner decides to retire and the new manager isn't as good? Or what if a pipe bursts and they have to close for a month? If all your 50 bucks are tied up in that one shop, your investment is exposed to all of that single shop's problems.
Right, all my eggs in one basket. So if I'm unlucky and pick the one coffee shop that has a pipe burst, I could lose everything. That sounds risky.
It is. So, what if instead of putting your 50 bucks into just that one coffee shop, you put $1 into 50 different coffee shops all over the country? Now, if one of them has a pipe burst, it's a small problem, not a catastrophe. You're not relying on the success of just one business.
50 different shops, so I'd have a tiny, tiny piece of each one. That makes sense. But it's not just coffee shops out there in the real market, right?
Exactly. It's not just coffee shops. It's bookstores and bakeries and companies that make shoes and companies that build houses. So you could take your 50 bucks and instead of buying a piece of 50 coffee shops, you could buy a tiny piece of a coffee shop and a tiny piece of a bakery and a tiny piece of a bookstore. All sorts of different businesses.
So now I have to research bakeries and bookstores and shoe companies. That sounds like a lot more work than just picking one good coffee shop. How would I even begin to do that?
That's the $1 million question, isn't it? And you're right, it would be a full-time job. But what if you didn't have to? What if there was a professional shopper whose only job was to create a big, sturdy shopping basket? and then travel the whole marketplace to fill it with tiny pieces of the best coffee shops, bakeries, and bookstores they could find?
And then you just buy a piece of their basket?
Now you're getting it. You buy one piece of that big, professionally managed basket. Your $50 is now spread across hundreds or even thousands of different businesses. That basket is what's called a mutual fund or an ETF. It's a simple way to own a tiny piece of almost everything without having to do all the research yourself.
A mutual fund, I've heard that term. So the basket is already made by a professional shopper, and I just buy a small piece of the whole basket?
Exactly. So when you buy a piece of the basket, you're not just buying one coffee shop, you're buying a tiny slice of everything inside. The professional shopper or fund manager makes the decisions about which businesses to include.